So the first game on our list here is Everdell.
Designed by James A. Wilson. Artist is Andrew Bosley. Good job, buddy. And published by Starling Games.
Good job, buddy. I'm assuming you're talking about the art. The fun art that it has. Yeah, so Everdell, if you're not familiar, it is a game that has a 3D board that you put together. I'll hold my opinions. Yeah. And basically, it's got a big tree that just stands there. The Ever Tree. Yeah. I actually don't know what the story is. I didn't read the rule book. This game was taught to us. So I'm going to try to give my best rules overview of the game. Obviously, this is not a learn to play or anything. But in Everdell, you're trying to build a tableau of cards in front of you. You've got about 15 cards that you can have out at one time that you'll build throughout the course of the game. And you, on your turn, it's super simple, right? There's a line of cards, kind of Ascension style, that you can buy, and those will swap out as you buy new cards. And on your turn, you have like a worker placement element to it, so you can place one of your workers, or you can play a card, or you can prepare for the next season, which is usually because you have no other actions that you can perform, because you must perform one of these three things. To place a worker, it's simple. There's a huge board that all the cards are on, but around it, there are these worker placement things that you can go to. Some of those are randomized using cards, like little small cards. The others are printed on the board, and you're going to put a worker out. Usually you'll just get some resources or draw cards. Yeah, you'll draw cards and maybe decide which ones are 2 out of 3, kind of thing like that. You can also play a card from your hand, but in order to do that, you have to fulfill the resource requirement that it requires to build it. And it's going to be built in front of you. Pretty much you're building a lot of different buildings that have like either production things to get new resources or point generating things that give you points at the end of the game and stuff. Or it's going to give you, in addition to that, it might have a build requisite, kind of like in Seven Wonders. I don't know. I guess Seven Wonders doesn't allow you to build it for free, does it?
It does.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that, where if you own the inn, you can build this certain type of guy or hire this guy that will work there, essentially, like the innkeeper or whatever. I don't remember which one it is for that card, but essentially it's like that. You build a farm, you can then play the wife or the husband for free. And then once you do that, you mark it. You can only do it once. But you don't have to spend all the food requirements to buy a guy to put out there. And the guys are just cards, just like the buildings are as well. And that's most of the game. When you can't play any of those two, play a card or put a worker out, then you can decide to prepare for the next season. The game takes place over 4 seasons, obviously, just like a real world. And each season, you are going to start with a production where you will get all your production buildings worth of stuff, and you'll get another worker.
Only in a couple, like certain seasons.
Yeah, I mean, but I was going to say that.
Okay.
One season you do not. The other 2 seasons that you progress to, you do. So 2/3 of the seasons you will produce. One season, I think you might get a card. I can't remember. Maybe you don't get anything. Doesn't matter for the rules overview. But you do get new guys. So your workers will expand. The worker placement workers will get bigger each season. And so basically each season gets longer and longer. And at the end of the 3rd season or the 4th season, if you have no actions to do, you end the game. The only other 2 things I'm going to mention are there are minor events that you can claim. Basically, they're symbol based. So if you have 3 of the blue symbols in your tableau of cards, you can put a worker there as a worker placement action to claim it for like 3 points or whatever. And no one else can do that. There is also major events, which are cards. And those are kind of the same. It requires you to have certain buildings and people. And if you do, you can put a guy there as a worker placement action and get it. And it usually has, or at least the ones we played with, have like a lot of scoring to them, where it's, you can spend, like once you claim this card, you can spend X number of resources to get X points up to 5 times. Stuff like that. So you got to be prepared to take it. And then you also have to be prepared to spend a lot of resources once you take it. So you kind of have to line all that up. And in addition to that, I will also mention that we played with 2 house rules, I guess I would call them, but they are rules that people have said work really well on Board Game Geek. The first one is anytime somebody buys a card from the middle, there are, I believe, 10 cards. Is that right? Yeah. It's like 5 and 5. It might be 4 and 4, but it doesn't matter. There's a bunch of cards. No, it's 4 and 4. So there's 8 cards out there that you can purchase. When you buy a card, the game comes with this massive D8 that was provided, I think, for the collector's edition. So people wanted a reason to use that. So the the thing they added into the game is once you buy a card, it will get replaced. But in addition to that, you roll the D8 and you burn a card and replace it as well. So cards are cycling faster than the base game. In addition, we played with something called the River. I think is what the dude called it. I can't remember. But basically, it's a 9th spot for cards that you put a card on. And anytime a new card comes out, or anytime a card gets purchased, you also put a new card over top of that card, so it builds a stack. So when you buy a card from that, just like you would any other card, it will reveal the one underneath of it, which is also available to purchase. So both of these are just ways to help speed up the cycling of the cards in the middle, because apparently some people are complaining about the game becoming stale. Like the cards don't shift in and out fast enough.
Right.
So anyway, we're going to play, and keep in mind that we played only with these house rules, and then we'll go from there.
Just to clarify, just in case someone does look it up, not to correct you and sound
No,
obnoxious about it. The River was the expansion. I think that extra spot was called the Meadow.
Oh, yeah.
So,
if
someone goes to look it up.
You're right. It's called the Meadow. And I guess they made an image for it that you can print out on cardstock, cut it out, and actually put next to your board.
Right.
So, Matt, let's start with you. Let's see what you think.
Obviously, I love
with the art.
I love the art. I love Critters. Whenever this game got brought out and he started showing it to me, which I remembered us previewing it. It was in one of our previews. I know it got brought up.
I think it was on Essen preview.
Yeah,
was it?
I know one of us talked about it. It might have been me, but I don't think I'd heard about it. I actually think it was Tim for some reason that might have brought it up.
I think I did.
Yeah. So once he started explaining the game, I was like, oh yeah, I remember us talking about this game on a preview. So super stoked. Yeah, I mean the artwork and everything is great. As far as the gameplay, man, it's really interesting because you got this worker placement deal going on. You got kind of a hand management, I guess. I don't know. You're trying to just plan out your moves, and it's a lot harder than you think because of what the hard hand limit you have, and the fact that you only have 15 spots. So I guess you don't want to like flood your board right in the first. Well, you're not going to do it in the first season anyways, but.
If you put too many 1 point cards or whatever, that doesn't give you a lot. Later on, you're gonna be down in the points,
right? And it's a fun balance to try and get things that will produce for you whenever that time comes. And you got to be really choosy about putting your meeples out because they sit there until you get no more actions to be able to pull them back.
Right.
I did feel like it. I'm not relating it to Mage Knight, but the analysis paralysis just on trying to line up actions from the cards in your hand is why I equate it to Mage Knight, because it doesn't seem like a lot, but man, it like gets your brain going on the correct order to do things to be the most efficient.
So definitely in this game, you can look at 3-4 moves ahead and be like, all right, next time it's my turn, I'm going to do this, and after that, I'm going to do this, and then this, and then this. So you got you can pre-plan a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you need to.
And,
so yeah, it just has a ton of elements going on in this that I really enjoyed. I like the fact that the seasons, you can change your own season. It doesn't affect everyone else. It's just your own little thing you got going on to give you more meeples, to pull your stuff back and everything. It's just got a lot of good things going on with it. So
yeah, I did kind of fail to mention that because I figured it would come up later, is when you're ready and you can't do the play a card or place a worker, then you can advance to the next season. When that happens, you basically waste your turn. Nothing happens on your turn other than you would get production or whatever, but you also reclaim all your workers back. And what's cool about that, I think, is that the game is a tableau building game where you're right, you only have 15 cards, but it's not a race. Unlike other games where somebody could race to get 15 cards and end the game.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't like that. It's like, I'm done with the game. Have fun continuing on.
Right. Everyone else gets to keep.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you do want to get every spot in your tableau, making as many points, because you have the same amount of turns that the other players have too, possibly more if you're more efficient.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What'd you think, Eric?
No, I liked it a lot. I thought the components were really nice. And we also played the Kickstarter edition. I kind of looked back, and it looks like a lot of these components are still in the regular edition that is out in stores.
Oh, really? Okay.
But the berries were,
we'll talk about this much more later in the episode, and when we talk about our collector's editions.
Yeah, wooden sticks, and so the components.
So that's all
really
with the base
nice.
game?
I believe so.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
You don't get the metal coins.
Yeah, the metal coins I assume.
But I think other than that, everything we played with, I think, is in the base edition.
I think a lot of what the Kickstarter edition added was a bunch of cards to add in, I think. Keep going. I'm going to look up the Kickstarter.
Sure. I thought the theme was fun, and the theme worked out throughout the game. I did like being able to build your tableau and incorporate a lot of combos on the cards that you get. And just love the engine building pretty much. And like I said, the theme is nice. We've been playing a lot of critter-themed games, which we didn't really play previously, so I've enjoyed that. So
yeah, the combos are awesome, and this game reminds me of, and I brought it up to George while we were playing, Imperial Settlers. It's very similar. Did you get that feel too?
It's been a while since we played it, but yeah,
I can't really remember it that well to say.
Well, it's very similar.
Okay.
Anyway, but Imperial Settlers has no worker placement to it. It's almost like you're playing Imperial Settlers with a worker placement stuff going on. Although Imperial Settlers has a lot of player interaction as far as like, I'm going to attack this building and stop you from using it kind of deal.
Right.
Whereas this game has very, very little player interaction, except for, which I wish it had more of, are cards like the Inn that I monopolized. Sorry about that. But basically it opens up a worker placement spot on one of your cards that other players can come to, but in Lords of Waterdeep fashion, if you go there, the owner of the card also gets a kickback.
Right.
And I thought that was awesome. Like, I would have loved to see that. As a matter of fact, I would have loved to see far more worker placement options on the main board, because I felt like there was way too many of them that no one ever went to.
Sure.
And because
which some of them are random. Maybe we just got a bad draw.
I think there's like 2 that are different every game.
There's 4. There's 4. There's 2 on each side of the card pool that are different every game. But then there's like 8 or 9 above that.
The static ones, yeah, you're right. There's like 3 maybe that kind of regularly got used, it seemed like.
Yeah, there's like 3, and it's like always like the bigger ones, and then some of them was like just get 1 berry. It looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This picture's kind of small. It's like, it's a lot though. And I feel like it was almost too many. I would have liked to see those like not there and seen more of the come use my building kind of cards.
Yeah. The only problem with that I've noticed on come do my buildings is if you get too many, you kind of forget. It's like, oh, Tim has this one specific building and Matt has these other 2. So since it's not in front of you or close to you, if you're not really familiar with the game, you kind of forget what's available.
Everybody else has to Matt, come to my end.
Yes.
You got to advertise at that point.
Yeah,
you're building a little city. But I mean, I get your point. Yeah, if you have at that point, if you only have 5 worker placement options in the base board, and then everybody has 10 apiece, then there's so many options. I'm not saying there needs to be flooded with them,
but a few more.
But I mean, there was like 4, and 3 of them were the Inn. Maybe there's more than that, but we went through the deck with the house rules that we were using. So we saw pretty much, actually we did see every single card in one playthrough, which I don't know. I kind of want to go back and play it without that option, because I feel like the game would be less or more restrictive.
Oh, definitely. Right.
And I don't know if I would like it better or worse. So it'd be cool to try it out. I mean, especially playing the game without any kind of house rules. I don't think that my opinion of the game will change. I still think it's awesome. And I mean, house rule away. You know what I'm saying? Well, actually, you know what? I don't really like house rules that much, but I don't care if anybody else wants to use them.
Right.
I'm not going to stop anybody and say this game is, because some house rules are neat, like the Carcassonne one, where you draw at the end of your turn so that you can think on all the other players' turns. That's awesome. It doesn't change the game much. This probably does change the game a lot.
Right.
But maybe not like laterally. So it looks like the collector's edition came with 30 metal coins. It came with 10 unique heroic critter and famous construction cards for your city. And I think it came with a sleeve that you put over the box.
I did.
Yeah. But it looks like originally the stretch goals were to have custom meeples and like the twig tokens and the berries and all the plastic berries and stuff. And then I believe if I look far enough, one of them was a stretch goal that says include all this in the base game.
Awesome.
Wherever it is. Yeah.
Thanks, Kickstarter backers.
Yeah, good job.
They did awesome.
Good job, guys.
Anyway, so it's a phenomenal game. I really like it. I loved Imperial Settlers. I mean, I'm not saying this game is it's not like you own one, you can play, you don't need the other. They are totally different, but they are very similar. The only thing is, I don't like the tree stuff. It looks cool. I think it looks really good in conventions because of the table presence.
Oh, right.
Completely unnecessary.
Yeah, but sometimes you put in unnecessary just for the bling factor, or the components are unnecessary. But
those are awesome.
I think it adds to the game. Right.
Like, there's a difference between colored cubes and sweet looking thematic tokens.
Right.
I think that's fine. Like that I feel like is like cubes are a acceptable component, and themed cutout cubes like in Agricola or Caverna, stuff like that. The Meeples and the Veggie Meeples and all that stuff. I think those are great. Like those almost should be the standard at this point.
Right.
But when you start including 3D shapes and like the berries are plastic and they're kind of like squishy.
Yeah.
And oh man, you start doing that stuff, then it gets really sweet. Or if you make them metal, like little metal bricks.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that stuff's awesome.
Like, where it's actually heavy, or it's actually gold.
Yeah.
Not real gold.
Real gold. The game would be like $3,000. Right. So anyway, anything else, Matt? Final thoughts on this one?
No.
Looking forward
I like
to
it. Yeah.
play it again.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
No, I liked it a lot. So it's maybe even top 10. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. You know what? Somebody was talking about the text being super small on the cards. Did you have problems with that?
I usually have problems reading text, and I don't remember having.
I didn't have any problems.
A problem with this one.
Gotcha.
Maybe if I wanted to like look at Eric's, I might have had a problem. But
that's fair.
I mean, I don't know that like you said, the player interaction is kind of low. I don't necessarily need to know what everyone else's cards are doing.
Yeah. Speaking of which, there's one last point that I want to bring up. I thought the minor events were okay. Like, they were cool that they were in it. First come, first serve, build 3 of the same symbol or 4 of one.
Mm-hmm.
But the major events almost felt annoying to me. What y'all feel
You
about
got
that?
to really want to do them.
Yeah, you got to really want to do them.
And it could have, I don't want to say luck, but I mean, if the cards come up and you're lucky enough to get them, then
it'd be much harder with the base rules too.
Yeah, so I mean, it's I don't know. I guess good for you if you get it.
Yeah,
kind of deal. But you got to really want them.
That's fair.
Yeah, I agree.
And I didn't feel like they were like straight amazing. Like I claimed like 3 of them and still lost. So, they're okay. They're great, but I don't feel like you should go out of your way if you get cards that kind of complement each other and you're like, oh, I just need one more card to complete that.
Right.
Damn. But on top of that, it's like most games, you complete the major event, you're done. This one's like, well, I don't even want to complete it yet, even though I have the requirements, because I don't have the resources or whatever it is to make the victory points off the condition after taking it.
And you still have to use a worker.
Yeah, and you still have to use a worker, so you may not have any until next season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Other than that, though, really impressed with this game. It's gonna fight terraforming Mars. Let's see what happens. Yep. Anyway, that is Everdell.